Yo, yo, Tony B, back at it. Made another local comic shop visit. Went to New World Comics. Shout out to every shop I go to. Right now it's Speeding Bullet, New World Comics, both fantastic shops and fantastic people. This special shout out to Ash, who was working today, working hard. You know, every time I ask the employees there for help on finding something, sometimes I feel like I'm bugging them, but it's just, they make you feel important and they give you that feeling of, you know, this is important for this guy to get on track, get what he wants. And they're very friendly. Ash was really good. Hopefully his boss sees this. And it's not just like an empty shout out. It's genuinely, I feel good in there. I feel comfortable. I feel, you know, you can feel the sociability. And what's cool is I went with my nephew-in-law, Garrett, shout out to G Money. And we walked in and they were doing some stuff for some kids, like a theatric type thing. They were all dressed up as heroes and the kids are just sitting there in amazement. It was cool seeing the magic in the kids' eyes, checking that out. So, man, I dig it when people do stuff for kids like that. It's really important and it keeps it alive. Like those kids will probably get in the comics. And so it's important to keep it rolling. So let's see what I got. Ash got me on track. I'm definitely going to collect the whole series. It's a nostalgia type thing for me. When it first came out, Crisis on Infinite Earths, I think it seems like these were in the same period. And because a lot of stuff, like your new intros, character development, was really reflected in these issues. But it was cool. It was like a double whammy of sorts. I like them. I like reading about powers and abilities and the history. Like, it's a good effort. It's hard to track everything in canon, especially when comic book fans can be brutal as far as having viewpoints about other things like that. But keeping it positive, I'm picking up a couple of Authority and Stormwatch books when I go in the shops. I want to get the whole volume 1 of both, and I'll continue with volume 2. I'm going to get the complete thing. And it's not because the engineer was in the new Superman movie. It's because it's a really good ensemble of characters and the stories are good. You know, it's not a cookie cutter type. It stands on its own and it's really cool. It's a cool read. So, stacking up the Authority. You know, if you're into Authority, let me know. I totally like hearing other people's opinions. That's a huge thing that I love about the channel, is hearing from other people, getting ideas, the collaboration. Comic book fans, we're a unique lot. We're really like a huge family. If you really want to get down to it, we're a group of heroes. Number 19, totally dig this character. I get it. It's like the Hawk Woman. However, this fresh take works for me. And Millar, great. Quietly. Oh man, I can't say enough there, but what a great combo. Like, to follow up with Hitch and Warren Ellis, this was just a home run. Totally love both of them. Not the biggest fan of his artwork, but he brought it on Authority. Like, there's some jaw-dropping panels. I'll throw one up. There's actually 3 issues that show their base in outer space. And these 3 artists, Quietly, Hitch, I can't remember the third, man. I'll throw it up, but it's like, I call them potty mouth panels, where you're like, oh shit, that is awesome. And they just bring it. I think the guy that I'm not remembering does the best version. I may have a contest, like, throw them out there, do like a giveaway, and like, which one do you think is the best? I don't know how I would work that in. It'd be highly subjective, but I mean, that's cool. I'll figure it out. Or you guys figure it out and give me some, give me some clues, man. Smart me up on giveaways. Youngblood. Totally love Youngblood. The 90s were fantastic. So, I am collecting, I have the first volume complete. There's only 10, so wasn't that bad. Multiple copies of number 1. Totally down with that. Man, great cover. I'm totally off track like squirrel, but yeah, I'll buy a couple just like Authority and Storm while I'm in the shop. And there's so many flavors. I'll have to figure that all out, but that's the beauty, right? Figuring it out. Garrett, he's at the shop with me, man, and we're like just talking about everything that's available. It's like kid in a candy store. Yeah, he's kicking it off. Big aliens guy. Want to mention the Flash, those eyes lit up. So that sometimes when I'm helping somebody, I watch for their body language when I mention something. And when you see that spark in the eyes, it's there. So yeah, the Flash. And my niece, who is his wife, she's getting into it. So like the whole family's like, they're catching on, and it's fantastic. I totally dig it. You just never know what brings people together. And comics have that ability. So it is an exciting time. My sister, she's getting into it. I think she may be an Amazing Spider-Man fan. It kind of rhymes, but yeah, we'll see. It's kind of hard for me to let it organically happen, instead of just blowing up their phones with get this, get that, you like this, you like that. I'm trying to let it organically flow. But my niece has Cul-de-sac. She likes vampires. And the artwork in that is so fantastic. I was like, she's got to check this out. So hopefully when she reads it, she's going to read it this weekend, that it has an impact like it had on me. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see what she thinks. We'll do a review. But yeah, X-Force, Youngblood. Man, still getting into it. I really got to a point where it was, Platt, Stephen Platt. That's totally why I got that one. Platt, great artist. Love his stuff. So I got another, Stormwatch. So here we go. I think I got 2 of these. For $2, what you gonna do? You can't beat that. Totally love this stuff from the 90s. That's if anybody knows anything, any recommendations of a book or something that deals with, that's written about the 90s in comics, like a period piece. I'd be interested in reading something like that. It was a fantastic time. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And back then, I was ignorant about everything. I was naive. That's the best. I'm totally jealous of people that still have that freshness to the hobby. There's a time I didn't think about anything like how much is this going to be worth, or speculation can ruin anything, any type of hobby. It's cool to have something that's increased in value. I dig that. I totally like it, but it's at one point I was getting hardcore about it and it was ruining it for me. I was like, dude, you got to enjoy the hobby like you always did. Sometimes you got to get back to your roots, if that makes sense. If you feel the same way, give me a shout out. But yeah, I felt like a strong sense of just get back to your roots. Don't worry about the price. Is this going to fetch more value? If I keep that out of my mind, it's totally enjoyable. I could map. I call it a career, which is kind of funny, but I could literally map my experience with speculation in comics, how it evolved in my thoughts, When I found out I had a book that was worth like $400, I went crazy. Like, not crazy, but just knowing that changed me in a way. I've gotten to a point now, though, where, man, I just let that roll off my shoulder. I enjoy the art, the collectability. Yeah, Stormwatch, man. You got to give it a little sample, but collectability, it's always fun. Me and Garrett were talking about it, and it's like, it is fun to have something that's worth a pretty penny and something unique. There's just something about it. It's hard to explain, really, but oh man, this is the cherry on top. I found these Spawn covers. Now they did, it was quite a few where they did some homage covers to, God, they may have been all Spider-Man covers, but you know, if you know, you know, an homage to, I believe it is $2.99. The Amazing Spider-Man, and I saw the Virgin cover and the trade dress cover, and I just had to have them, man. $5 a piece. I was like, whatever. This is cool. I have the one where I believe it's Violator holding a knife, holding something where it's that reflective, that iconic Incredible Hulk with Wolverine on the cover. But yeah, it's totally cool. I like homage covers like that. It is cool. Like, if something's not original and it's an homage, I'm cool with that. And they did a bunch. It's a cool thing to collect. Like, if you're just into collecting niche type stuff, this would be a cool one. I totally love that character, the Redeemer. Yeah, me and Garrett were talking about just the whole, like when Spawn came out, it was just fresh, and the villains were fresh and unique. And you know, the villains can really define your hero. I think they're very important. You know, kind of a corny thing is Rowdy Roddy Piper made that distinction. Like, you wouldn't have Hulk Hogan if it weren't for me being such a scumbag heel. And he's right. He's really right. Like, your villains can really, you know, add to that character. Just like, you know, give you an example of a couple is probably my favorite is The Flash with the Rogues Gallery, Batman with his villains. Man, who's another big one? You know what I'm talking about, though? You get to some heroes that don't really have a defined villain set, or there's just a lack of, like, it, you can tell it affects it. I'm trying to think of a good example. Like, who's a good example, man? Shout out if you have one. But maybe like Firestorm. I think that's a good one. Really doesn't have that de facto defining arch nemesis. Yeah, just totally, you know, something to think about. If you got one, let me know. But yeah, this trip to New World was fantastic. It was fun. I got to hang out with Garrett. Got to see part of that show. I'll throw up, I took some photos. I'll throw up a photo of it, man. That's cool they're doing that for kids. Man, anybody bringing enjoyment to kids, man, they're all right in my book. Like, they get the thumbs up. So you know how we do here. Outro.